Hmm, it's raining. I despise rain. I've heard that a lot of people like the rain, which I suppose I understand. The sound is nice, and I like that the clouds obscure the sun. But fundamentally, it's inconvenient. Rain gets in your hair, it soaks into your clothes. Unless you're wearing a jacket, you're out of luck. However, I'm always prepared, so I brought an umbrella. Did you forget yours? Hmm? To be honest, I'm not surprised. You've been rather forgetful at work recently. What do I mean? Well, you asked me for the password to the work database 3 times this week. And you asked me for a private meeting to go over case notes again, despite the fact that we'd gone over them as a group earlier that day. Yes. And once you even insisted you'd forgotten you already made lunch, so you ended up with an extra bento and asked me to join you. That one was the most peculiar. I could never forget about having made food. In any case, I wouldn't mind sharing my umbrella. We can walk to the bus station together. Wonderful. Let's go then, shall we? Have you not been sleeping well? Being forgetful is a telltale sign of sleep deprivation, as is slow thinking, reduced attention span, poor decision making, and irritability. I see. The other symptoms are unrelated as well, I trust? Understandable. Well, have you been eating well, then? I know that it's tempting to eat nothing but sweets, but unfortunately, eating fruits and vegetables is important for your overall health. Personally, I motivate myself to eat vegetables by alternating bites with cake. Or I blend spinach into a milkshake. It sounds disgusting, but you can't taste the spinach. Have you been keeping track of your vitamin intake? Then again, that bento that you made did have a diverse amount of vegetables. Well, if it isn't your diet and it isn't your sleep, then perhaps there's another underlying condition that's making you act so strangely. Do you have any ideas on what that could be? How peculiar. It looks like you're blushing now. Maybe you really are sick. Not sick, you say? Then what is it? The only other thing I can think of that isn't an illness is... Well, I don't think it can be that. No, I assure you that it's impossible. You and I are colleagues, after all. Well, if you insist. It's just, I can't help but notice that the common denominator in all of your forgetful events is, me. Is it possible that you're interested in me romantically? Ah, I see. If I'm honest, I had a suspicion for a while that that could be the case. We've been spending a lot of time together both in and out of the investigation. It seems that whenever you need an escort back to your house after a night out, you ask me. You've also been sending me text messages outside of work hours about work, which is unlike you. I wouldn't describe you as a workaholic. Anyways, needless to say, I'm not entirely surprised to learn that that's how you feel. Hmm? Am I upset about it? Of course not. I've shared those feelings for a long time. Ah, does that come as a surprise? How intriguing. I thought that my flirting was rather obvious. I accepted your lunch invitation. I took notes for you during our recap meetings. I responded to your midnight text messages and nonsense memes. Was that not a flirting? Well, perhaps I have more to learn, then. Light insisted that I tell you more bluntly, but I suppose I had more faith in you than that. It appears that faith was misplaced. Anyway, well, it's nice to know that we share feelings. Is that it? What else could there be? Dating. Well, I never considered having a partner outside of work. Wouldn't having a romantic relationship with a colleague complicate the investigation? And I must warn you, I'm not exactly the ideal candidate for romance. I rarely stay in the same place for long. I travel the world as is necessary to solve cases. Not to mention that I'm rather, unromantic. I think very logically, you know? In every situation, that's not ideal in a romantic relationship. At least that's what I've been told. By Light, mostly. But I've also been doing some research online about the subject. It appears that in order to be successful in a relationship, communication is very important. I'd say that's a topic I struggle with. So, with that being considered, are you still interested in pursuing a relationship with me? How interesting. You're fascinating, you know? I can't always guess what you're thinking, as I can with others. Your face often betrays your true thoughts, but the comparisons aren't always one-to-one. Are you used to hiding your emotions from people? Hmm. Well, I'd like to assure you that you can always be yourself around me, as you have told me before. Perhaps this relationship is one worth pursuing after all. Well, the bus stop is just up here. Is this where we part ways? Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to a night of drinks after work. Isn't that traditional among the other detectives at the station? I rarely want to attend, but I think you and I may have a lot to talk about together after all. I have a feeling that I'll enjoy this investigation.